Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Terra Classic, seeing what's going on. Just to help you understand best practice and big picture, of course, and kind of see, how much further this leg up will go. Of course, it's a very unexpected, but also par for the course, considering this is cryptocurrency and you never truly know where it's going to go. But according to the technical analysis, the price should have continued sideways and continued its same behavior as it did before. Instead, it's honoring the ascending trend line and effectively increasing with it. So that's a positive sign there, and nonetheless. So taking a look here, of course, just before we do, I want you to know I'm not a financial advisor. I just got to preface that. I've been trading for over 15 years though, and my goal is to help you become a better trader. So I do have a trading academy, community, and signal group. Link in the description below for that. It's kind of a one-stop shop for cryptocurrency. CryptoCache.tech is a site. Link down below. So taking a look here at Terra Classic, let's start with the daily and work our way down. We're just going to stick to the standard stuff here and kind of see what the technical analysis is telling us. And as I kind of mentioned yesterday, 70 can oftentimes work as a support level when it's broken through significantly. Previously, it didn't. So in other words, it got rejected and came back down, inevitably lost to 50. However, this time we have a lot of volume that's actually picking up here today. Even though we had dissipating volume yesterday, the volume's obviously picked up again. And that essentially allowed for us to bounce off 70 on the RSI. So for lack of better terms, we broke through this resistance level here at about 26,500 and essentially continued ever since. We can see that on the shorter time frames, of course, but just generally speaking here at this point, it is overextended, yes, but it makes sense that it bounced based on that specific sentiment there. Again, never a reason to take a trade, honestly, but it is important to help understand, big picture there. Once again, that's kind of where we're at there on the daily. Not terrible. It's actually overextended, yes, but still continuing its uptrend. All right. So again, this trend line I drew out yesterday, I said as long as it doesn't break down below, we should be good to go for it to try to retest this resistance level here, once again at that time, right around 26,500. But of course, it came up to retest its previous resistance at 31,100. And effectively broke through it. So what we can expect now, based on this being a momentous trend, we have this continuation pattern, is for the price action to come back down potentially and to bounce off that level, or just for lack of better terms, use 31,100 as a support level. It's establishing itself as a support. Okay. So again, that's kind of where we're at there in that sense, but pretty positive in the overall sense. But once again, as volume decreases, the price might as well. We'll see if 31,100 holds if it comes back down. Other than that, we have a very significant MACD convergence here, of course, based on the recent increase. This is almost 40% increase in just under 8 hours. So 8 hours ago, Luna was 33% lower, or 35, 38, whatever. It's definitely up there now, right? And that's a positive sign. But again, overextended. It has more room to grow, but it would make more sense if it pulled back and consolidated at support. That's kind of a common practice in trading for you to see that happen. So taking a look here at the RSI, we're up over 70 again. This honestly almost doesn't matter. When you have this much volume and volatility, your relative strength index can be kind of null and void in a lot of ways, specifically in the 4-hour time frame. So in this sense here, we can't really rely on that being overextended because the probability of it staying up there is quite high. What it could and should do is, of course, slowly consolidate sideways, allow the RSI to come back down, and maybe bounce off 50 again and try again. That could very well happen. And that would allow for us to have this continuation pattern where the price actually consolidates and legs up at that point when it meets that trend line. Okay? Because trend lines are ultimately your friend. Those are probably the most important things you could use in trading, is to kind of see if it's making higher highs and higher lows, etc., what it's looking like. Okay, right here we have kind of a typical pennant type of pattern where the price action broke out to the upside after consolidation and retesting this current trend line. Okay, so all in all, that's where we're at there. In that sense, looking pretty good. I would still say, be cautious in this sense. Adding to your position right now may be disadvantageous. Perhaps wait for it to pull back. Again, I'm a little more conservative. I like to find good entries, and I try not to FOMO in. To me, this seems overextended, even still. And again, not saying it's going to drop like a rock, but it does have potential to retrace here in the near future. So I'd just be mindful of that. Okay. So again, depending on your overall position size and what you're planning to do with the trade, I usually like to recommend taking profits. I did honestly, in other trades when the price action is at this level, right? So again, the likelihood of it continuing much higher is pretty low. Once again, likelihoods are not always 100% in trading. So just keep that in mind. Things can always change, and they definitely do. All right, so let's take a look here at TD sequential and kind of see. This is a prime example of Likely, potentially even a short squeeze, whereas the price action came up here. We are at a 9. We became overextended. Price shouldn't have gone any further. Instead, it decided to go into extreme overdrive, and now we're in basically extreme overtime, right? So in other words, we have probably about 9 or 10 candlesticks here that are not warranted. They should not have happened, right? And that's just, again, traditional trading is what that's supposed to be. I know cryptocurrency isn't traditional, but in this sense here, with it coming up like this, it's absolutely overextended. It didn't have enough time to consolidate. And once, if the likelihood of a pullback, I would say, is greater based on that sentiment. Now, we want to maybe take a look at the Bollinger Bands, kind of see, and perhaps even the volume weighted average price, because those things are very reflective of the volume and how it speaks to the price. But for now, taking a look at this here, it does appear to be overextended based on TD sequential. The Ichimoku cloud, don't even need to worry about that because it's well above. That pretty much just says if you have a long position, you want to keep it open. And I would agree with that sentiment at this point. I'm not saying you should take your profits completely or close your position completely, but a lot of times I like to take a small percentage off the top when it's up this high. Just kind of makes sense because then you can re-add to it when it comes down lower if it does. And if it doesn't, you still got some skin in the game, all right? So again, different schools of thought for different folks, but just kind of some things I like to throw out there. Let's take a look at the volume weighted average price and see. We can see it well outside the standard deviation lines here, but based on the overall sense of the added volume, the volume weighted average price is actually coming up here to average itself out really close to 31,100. So if the price were to come back down, not only would it have that support based on Fibonacci and a previous high, essentially, or previous all-time high, it would also have potential to bounce off volume weighted average price. So all in all, this is a very, very positive sign. It really helps us understand that we have a nice, strong support at 31,000. And this is what happens when coins get into price discovery. Interesting things can happen, and a lot of times resistance levels become strong support levels based on it being a bullish trend. Again, we're above the trend line. We got to expect the price action to continue higher until it doesn't. That's essentially where we're at. All right, so again, all good stuff here for Terra Classic. I like what I see. I wouldn't say it's going to shoot to the moon per se, but I can tell you that it's absolutely picking up some momentum. So again, that's kind of where we're at here for the moment. Hopefully this helped you find some benefit and some answers. But generally speaking, it's definitely looking a lot better than it did yesterday, and it's really cool to see this. So congratulations to anyone who has a nice inflated bag right now. It's excellent news. All right, so thanks again so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have yourself a great rest of your day. Take care.